I'm 85. I died with $3 million in the bank, the die with zero regret. I'm 85 years old, and when you reach this age, numbers stop feeling impressive and start feeling heavy. They don't sparkle anymore. They sit with you. They remind you. They accuse you. When I say I have $3 million in the bank, people assume this is a story about success. They assume I'm about to tell you how to do it right, how to be smart, how to be disciplined, how to win. This is not that story. This is about what happens when you win the wrong game perfectly. I didn't wake up one day and decide to chase money at the cost of everything else. It happened quietly, slowly, in ways that felt reasonable at the time. I grew up watching adults worry about money in ways they never explained out loud. Bills that arrived like threats, arguments that stopped when children entered the room, plans that disappeared without explanation. I learned early that money wasn't about luxury. It was about safety, about dignity, about not being afraid in your own home. So I decided very young that fear would not follow me into adulthood. I became careful before I became curious, responsible before I became adventurous, controlled before I became alive. I didn't call it fear. I called it discipline. And the world agreed with me. Teachers praised it. Employers rewarded it. Banks welcomed it. Society loves people who delay themselves quietly. Saving money didn't feel like sacrifice. It felt like maturity. Every dollar not spent felt like proof that I was smarter than impulse. Every experience postponed felt like strength. I wasn't missing out, I told myself. I was preparing for later. Later became the most dangerous word in my life. I structured everything around the future. My work choices, my living arrangements, my vacations, or lack of them. I avoided anything that felt excessive or unnecessary. If something couldn't be justified logically, it didn't happen. I trained myself to enjoy restraint, to feel proud of saying no. Over time, no became my default response to life, and nothing bad happened right away. That's how the trap works. My accounts grew. My credit was excellent. My stress about money stayed low. From the outside, my life looked stable, respectable, successful. People trusted me. They asked me for advice. They said I had my head screwed on straight. I believed them. What I didn't notice was how narrow my world was becoming. I didn't travel much when I was younger, not because I couldn't afford it, but because it didn't seem necessary. I didn't explore interests deeply because hobbies felt unproductive. I didn't say yes easily because yes always came with cost. I told myself I'd do those things later, when time was abundant and money was no longer a concern. I treated life like a draft. The real version would come later. Work made this easier to justify. Work gives you permission to postpone everything. You can miss dinners, skip trips, delay conversations, and no one questions it. Work makes absence respectable, and saving gives that absence a moral glow. You're not avoiding life, you're building security. I believed that completely. Retirement became the promised land, the place where all this discipline would finally transform into enjoyment. I imagined myself lighter, more generous, curious again. I imagined waking up without urgency and choosing my days freely. I imagined money turning into experiences naturally, effortlessly. I spent decades picturing that moment. When retirement finally arrived, it felt anticlimactic. The numbers were right. The plans worked. I had more than enough. But the feeling I expected never showed up. There was no rush of joy, no deep satisfaction, just relief. Relief that I wouldn't run out. Relief that I wouldn't be a burden. Relief that I had done everything correctly. Relief is not happiness. Relief is simply the absence of fear. At first, I assumed happiness would follow. I gave myself permission to spend a little more, to rest, to travel. But something was wrong. The pleasure didn't land the way I thought it would. Experiences felt muted. Travel felt tiring. Enjoyment felt unfamiliar. That's when I understood something I wish I had known earlier. You don't suddenly become a different person just because your circumstances change. The habits you build to survive shape your ability to enjoy. I had spent decades training myself to delay gratification. My nervous system learned that safety came from holding back. So even when holding back was no longer necessary, my body didn't know how to release. Every purchase came with hesitation. Every experience came with guilt. Even though the money was there, the permission wasn't. Frugality had stopped being a strategy. It had become my identity. At the same time, my body was changing in ways I didn't notice until I had to negotiate with it. Energy faded quietly, recovery slowed. Long days became shorter windows, travel became exhausting instead of exhilarating. I didn't feel old suddenly, I just felt limited. And that's when the panic arrived. Not loud panic, quiet panic. The realization that I had saved for a version of myself that no longer existed. I had imagined an older me with the same appetite for life, the same curiosity, the same physical ease. I had protected the money meticulously. I had not protected my capacity to use it. Money waited patiently. My body did not. I began to look back at choices I once felt proud of and see them differently. Trips I postponed, invitations I declined, experiences I labeled unnecessary. At the time, each decision felt small, responsible, logical. Now I see how they accumulated. Each no removed a possible memory. And memories I learned too late are the only things that grow more valuable as time shrinks. Money does not age like memories. Money stays static. It doesn't soften. It doesn't deepen. It doesn't comfort you at night when your world gets smaller. Memories do. They become places you can return to when options disappear. I don't have as many of those places as I thought I would. People still tell me I'm lucky, that I did it right, that $3 million is an incredible achievement. I nod politely, but inside I feel the weight of what that number represents. Unused life, deferred joy, energy saved for a future that arrived without the strength to receive it. This is where the idea of die with zero finally makes sense to me. Not as a reckless command, but as a warning. A reminder that money is only valuable when it becomes lived experience. Anything left unused at the end is not security. It's excess. And excess at this age feels like waste. I didn't die with zero. I died with too much. And too much when time is gone is just another form of not enough. I wish I had understood sooner that the real risk was never running out of money. The real risk was running out of life while still holding on to it. I didn't realize how heavy regret could feel until I had enough quiet to hear it clearly. When you're busy, regret stays theoretical. It's something you imagine old people talk about. When your days finally slow down, regret stops being an idea and becomes a presence. It sits with you in the morning. It follows you through the house. It waits patiently for you at night. What surprised me most wasn't that I had regrets. It was the kind of regrets I had. I don't regret working hard. I don't regret being responsible. I don't regret building security. I regret how obedient I was to a single idea of what a good life was supposed to look like. I regret never questioning whether the rules I followed were designed for living or just for surviving. I look back now and see people who lived differently than I did. At the time, I judged them, quietly, politely, without cruelty. I told myself they were reckless, that they didn't plan well, that they were too emotional with money. Some of them traveled when I stayed home. Some of them took time off when I worked. Some of them spent on experiences I considered unnecessary. I told myself I would have the last laugh. Now in the quiet, I see something else. Some of them struggled later, yes, but some of them didn't. And even the ones who did carried something I postponed my entire life. Stories, texture, a sense that they had been fully inside their own years instead of standing back and managing them. I realize now that I lived as if life were a fragile object that needed to be preserved behind glass. They lived as if life were something to be handled, even if it left marks. Marks fade. Memories remain. When your body begins to shrink your world, memories expand it again. They give you somewhere to go when you can no longer go very far. They give you versions of yourself to revisit when the present feels thin. I don't have enough of those. I thought saving money would protect me from fear. In some ways it did, but it also protected me from experience. It smoothed the edges off my life until there wasn't much left to hold on to emotionally. I lived cautiously, and caution does not age well. At 85, your days are not long. They are precise. You wake up knowing you have a certain amount of energy and you must decide where to spend it. There is no excess. There is no borrowing from tomorrow. Everything has a cost now. Not just money, but strength. I spend a lot of time sitting, thinking, remembering, and that's when it hits hardest. The realization that there were years when my body was capable, my curiosity was loud, and my appetite for life was still intact, and I treated those years like something to get through rather than something to inhabit. I assumed desire would wait, It didn't. Desire needs permission early, not late. People don't talk enough about how wanting changes with age. It doesn't disappear, it narrows, it becomes quieter. And if you've spent decades suppressing it, it doesn't come roaring back when circumstances finally allow it. It whispers, if it speaks at all. I have money now that could buy comfort, convenience, even luxury. But luxury without longing feels hollow. Comfort without contrast feels empty. What I need now isn't more options. It's the version of myself who knew how to choose boldly. That version is gone. Not because of age alone, but because I starved him. I used to believe the phrase "die with zero" was irresponsible. Now I understand it differently. It was never about draining accounts. It was about draining excuses. It was about recognizing that unused resources at the end of life are not a sign of wisdom. They are a sign of miscalculation. I calculated money perfectly. I miscalculated time. Time is not a straight line. It doesn't treat all decades equally. 10 years at 40 are not the same as 10 years at 70. The exchange rate changes, and no one warns you when it does. I assumed I could convert money into life whenever I wanted. I was wrong. There is a window where money becomes memories easily. Outside that window, the conversion becomes painful, inefficient, sometimes impossible. And no spreadsheet prepares you for that. Now I sit with $3 million that will outlive me. It will be passed on. Spent by people who didn't earn it and won't understand what it represents. It will move through the world without carrying my story. That's not legacy. Legacy is being able to say you were present for your own life. I don't say this with bitterness, I say it with clarity. Clarity that comes too late to fix things, but not too late to name them honestly. If you're listening to this and you're still in the middle of building, I don't want you to panic. I don't want you to swing wildly in the opposite direction. I want you to recalibrate. Save, yes. Be responsible, yes. But do not treat life as something that begins after security is complete. Security is never complete. There is always another buffer to build, another fear to anticipate, another reason to wait. Waiting becomes a habit, and habits become lives. Spend when it matters. Say yes when curiosity shows up. Take the trip while your body still trusts itself. Have the conversation before time turns it into regret. Use your money as a tool to deepen your days, not just to protect your nights. Do not aim to die with $0. Aim to die with 0 postponed dreams. I waited for permission to enjoy my life. No one ever gave it to me. I was supposed to give it to myself, and I didn't understand that until the cost was irreversible. I'm 85 now. The days are shorter, the silence is louder, the accounts are full, and the truth is finally clear. The real failure is not running out of money. It's running out of life while still holding on to it. That is what it means to die with $3 million in the bank. And if this reaches you early enough, it does not have to be your story.